Oh, hello, hello. We are here about building fat stacks of cash in 2026. So, this is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to have a little quick episode this week, and I want to explain goals, habits, and routines around your money. So, sometimes when I'm listening to people talk, they're having big goals, and that's fine. Goals around earnings are great, goals around actions are great, goals around the amount that you want to save, great. But I also want to talk about habits because there's some things that when it comes to our money, we really just actually want to build strong habits and not have these things be so much of a goal. And the reason is because habits are just things that you do. And especially when it comes to stacking cash and saving money, like if you say, all right, well, I have a goal to save $10,000 this year, but you don't have a savings habit, where's that money coming from? How are you doing it? Right? Like that's usually the piece that people miss out. They'll write the goals down on paper and then they don't have the habits or the routines to be able to get it in place. So when you're setting your goals, the things that I would really encourage you to do are to setting goals that you can track by the lead indicators, right? So if I forget which book it is, but there's a thing called lead indicators and lag indicators. And lead indicators is like the actions that you take, the micro steps, habits. These things are the things that add up to the compound effect. The lag indicators are the result, right? So if this was a weight loss goal, taking a walk around my neighborhood every day would be a lead indicator. I can track that. The lag indicator would be the losing of the weight. I can track my meals, but I can't, that's the place to make the difference. And so when it comes to the money, I can track my money making activities. I can track how many weeks in a row that I save. I can track the amount of time that I leave the money in my savings account for. These are lead indicators that will help us with the lag indicators. So when you're setting your goals, think about those kinds of things. And then also play with big goals. A lot of times the 10x goal, especially for business owners, the 10x goal is easier than the 2x goal. A lot of times it creates mental clarity. So if you're thinking about making more money, look at getting a whole new job and going up a level or two. So think outside the box on things. So let's talk about habits. So when it comes to money, we want 3 different savings habits. I call it planting, preparing, and pleasure. Planting is going to be your retirement money. Money that's going to work for you, investments. Preparing are all the things that in the invisible system we call working capital. And these are the kinds of things, the non-monthly bills that you can totally see coming, right? It's car maintenance, deductibles, heating oil, insurances, taxes, things that are coming, but the bill might only come once or twice a year, quarterly or whatever else, maintenance on things. And then the third thing is pleasure, saving money for home upgrades, for vacations, whatever it is that you want. So you want to make sure that we're building these strong financial habits. So tracking your money is a financial habit, paying your bills once a month or however often you need to do it. That's the habits, saving money. Now, financial habits are interesting because a lot of times we only get paid, most people only get paid every other week, twice a month. And so you might not have enough repetition around that task to actually for your brain to put a habit loop in. So use technology, set up the auto drafts, use the support that's available for you to build these habits out strong. And then routines are going to be things like, I would say somewhere between 1 and 4 times a month, sit down and track your expenses, go through and really be intimate with your money. Review, do a quarterly review of your investments, your insurances, or like everything needs to be done quarterly, but like once a year, check your beneficiaries, check all your accounts, move anything that needs to be moved. And then also like routines around our spending are also going to be really helpful. Like I generally suggest people do grocery shopping, let's say once a week, going to stores like Target or Costco, anywhere between once a month and once a quarter, just depending on your life. And some people need more, right? Some people need more and that's fine. But start to look at do the habits that I'm building and the routines that I have, do these match up to the goals? Because a lot of times people will set the goals, but they won't put the supportive aspects in place. And then it doesn't happen. And listen, I want to say this, goals of decrease are real tricky. So goals of paying off debt, I get that. And I also want you to pay off your credit card debt, but we want to be very, very careful here because oftentimes what we focus on grows. So if we have a lot of goals, if we have a lot of focus on debt, that's actually the thing that I see people really growing their debt. So if one of your goals is to pay off debt, put a plan in place and then use your energy to pay make the payments. But other than that, read books about wealth creation. Think about paying off or not paying off. Think about building the wealth. Think about the savings. Think about the things that our wealthy people are doing. Get yourself ready for your next money goal once that cash is freed up. Like, start really thinking about those kinds of things, because a lot of times people get so obsessed with debt that they stay in debt for decades about it. It's a whole consciousness. It's a whole mindset that keeps people in debt. So we want to break out of there. All right, so that's our episode for today. Quick goals, habits, routines, and these are the things to think about to stack fat amounts of cash in 2026. See you next week. Bye, everybody.